Life often seems like a fairy tale when you're the daughter of a legendary figure like Frank Sinatra. But Nancy Sinatra's journey has been anything but easy. While many might assume her life was a seamless blend of glitz and glamour, the reality is far more complex and poignant. In this video, we delve into the heart-wrenching truth behind some tragic rumors that Nancy Sinatra recently had to confirm about her iconic father, leaving fans around the world in shock. But before we dive into the recent revelations, we'll take a closer look at Nancy's formative years, the experiences and challenges that shaped her into the remarkable woman she is today. Discover the struggles she faced, the triumphs she achieved, and the personal battles she fought. This is not just a story of fame and fortune, but a journey of resilience, strength, and enduring legacy. Join us as we unravel the layers of Nancy Sinatra's life, offering you an intimate glimpse into the trials and triumphs of one of Hollywood's most enduring figures. Don't miss this chance to gain a deeper understanding of Nancy Sinatra's incredible life and the truths behind the headlines. Born on June 8, 1940, Nancy Sinatra was the first child of Frank Sinatra and Nancy Barbato, emerging from their loving union in Jersey City, New Jersey. As the eldest of 3 children, Nancy's arrival marked the beginning of a significant era in the Sinatra family's life. Both of her parents were of Italian descent, which played a role in shaping their family culture and values. When Nancy was still a toddler, the Sinatra family relocated to Hasbrouck Heights, New Jersey, seeking a fresh start. This move was followed by a major shift when the family ventured to Toluca Lake, California, driven by Frank Sinatra's burgeoning Hollywood career. In Toluca Lake, young Nancy was exposed to an environment rich in artistic opportunity. She immersed herself in dramatic performance lessons, dance, and piano, laying the groundwork for her future career in entertainment. Her formative years included attending Hollywood High School, where she crossed paths with notable figures such as Stephanie Powers, a future star in her own right. Nancy later transferred to University High School of Los Angeles, from which she graduated in June 1958. During the late 1950s, Nancy continued her education at UCLA, where she focused on voice, music, and dance. However, her passion for the arts led her to leave UCLA after just 1 year, choosing to pursue her career directly. Her professional debut came in November 1957 on The Frank Sinatra Show, a television program hosted by her father. This early appearance marked the beginning of her public career. Nancy's prominence continued to grow in 1960 when she appeared on The Frank Sinatra Timex Show, in a special episode titled Welcome Home, Elvis, celebrating Elvis Presley's return from military service in Europe. At the airport, Nancy greeted Presley on behalf of her father, and later that evening, she performed a duet with Frank Sinatra of the classic song You Make Me Feel So Young, composed by Joseph Meyer in 1946. In 1961, Nancy Sinatra signed with Reprise Records, the label founded by her father. Her first single, Cufflinks and a Tie Clip, unfortunately failed to capture significant attention. Despite this setback, Nancy's music began to resonate in Japan and Europe, though she faced considerable pressure as she struggled to make an impact in the United States. By 1965, Nancy was on the brink of being dropped by the label due to her lack of hits in her home country. The turning point in Nancy's career came with the intervention of Lee Hazelwood, a seasoned arranger, songwriter, and producer with a decade of experience working with various celebrities, including Dwayne Eddy. Hazelwood's involvement was facilitated by Frank Sinatra, who personally asked Lee to assist his daughter. Hazelwood's influence was transformative. He helped Nancy refine her sound, encouraging her to sing in a lower key and providing her with a repertoire of new songs. Notably, during the recording of the iconic hit, "These Boots Are Made for Walkin'," Hazelwood's guidance and encouragement played a pivotal role in shaping Nancy's musical direction. Nancy Sinatra later described Lee Hazelwood as a blend of Sigmund Freud and Henry Higgins, acknowledging his profound impact on her career. This collaboration marked the beginning of a successful phase in Nancy's music career, leading to widespread recognition and acclaim. Nancy Sinatra made a remarkable impact on both the British and American music scenes, following a major image overhaul and a fresh approach to her music career. In 1966, she released the iconic music video for her song, "These Boots Are Made for Walkin'," a track written and produced by Lee Hazelwood. The song's success was not just a result of its catchy melody and bold lyrics, but also due to Nancy's glamorous new image, which was enhanced by top-notch makeup and a dynamic visual presentation. This revitalization of her persona, coupled with Hazelwood's expert production, led to widespread acclaim. At the 9th Annual Grammy Awards, "These Boots Are Made for Walkin' received 3 Grammys, including one for the song's arranger, Billy Strange, and 2 for Nancy Sinatra herself. The track also achieved gold disc status by selling over 1 million copies, marking a significant milestone in her career. Following this success, Nancy Sinatra continued to dominate the charts with several hit singles. In 1966, she achieved notable success with "How Does That Grab You, Darling?", which reached number 7 on the U.S. charts, and "Sugar Town," which peaked at number 5 and also sold over 1 million copies. This song's success cemented Nancy's place in the music industry and showcased her growing popularity. The year 1967 brought further acclaim with the release of "Something Stupid," a duet with her father, Frank Sinatra. This ballad soared to number 1 on both the UK and US charts, staying at the top of Billboard's Easy Listening chart for 9 consecutive weeks. The duet made history as the first father-daughter pair to top the Billboard Hot 100. "Something Stupid" was also nominated for the Record of the Year award at the 10th Annual Grammy Awards and became Nancy's 3rd track to sell over 1 million copies. To this day, it remains the only father-daughter duet to reach the top of the U.S. charts, a testament to its enduring appeal. Nancy's success didn't stop there. In 1967, she released several more singles that performed well on the charts, including "Friday's Child," which peaked at number 36, and "Love Eyes," which climbed to number 15. "Lightning's Girl" also enjoyed moderate success, reaching number 24. The year concluded with the release of "Tony Rome," a song inspired by the film of the same name, in which her father starred as Detective Tony Rome. This film, and its accompanying soundtrack, further solidified Nancy Sinatra's status as a prominent artist of the era, demonstrating her ability to blend her musical talent with the cinematic world. The song, inspired by that movie, managed to reach position 83 in the U.S. charts. In 1968, she would come up with the song "100 Years," which was her first solo single track that managed to reach position 69 in the U.S. charts. Later that year, she would record a song by the title "Highway Song," which would be produced by the English producer Mickie Most in order to hit the European market, and it reached top 20 in the UK and other countries in Europe. Nancy's career was paralleled because she would even get involved in duets which were inspired by Lee Hazelwood, which were husky-voiced in nature and in the country and western genre, such as Summertime, which was the B-side of Sugartown. She would do a cover song of the Billy Ed Wheeler and Jerry Lieber country song Jackson, which would become the biggest song of the time. This masterpiece would rise up the charts to peak at position number 14 in the Billboard Hot 100 in the 1967 summer. She would later release the masterpiece Some Velvet Morning at the tail end of the year 1967, which was written by Lee Hazelwood. This song would later hit the charts, and it would peak at position 26 in the U.S. charts, as well as get a promo clip. The song would end up being one of pop's unusual recordings. Speaking about the song, the English journalist Cathy Unsworth said the following words: "The puzzle of its lyrics and otherworldly beauty of its sound offer seemingly endless interpretations." This song would later be put at the very top of the top 50 best duets ever by the British media outlet. The Daily Telegraph, in the year 2003, with the song Something Stupid, also getting into the top 50 best duets ever, in position 27. The Some Velvet song would again appear on the Nancy and Lee duo's album in the year 1968, getting traction not only during those days but also more than 40 years later in 2017, with the National Public Radio having the following comments about the song. "Its sly, sultry movements both are a gem of traditional 60s pop and an inversion of traditional conceptions of romance." In 1967, she would record the theme song of the famous James Bond thriller, You Only Live Twice. While making this theme song, Nancy Sinatra expressed her mixed emotions of being both scared and excited, as she even asked Leslie Bricusse and John Barry if they were sure that it was not Shirley Bassey. They wanted to do the theme song. The James Bond movie has 2 theme songs. One of the theme songs is, of course, the lushly orchestrated theme track, which normally appears on the opening and closing credits. And then the second theme song is the one that would appear in the dual single with Jackson. The song would become even more popular in the United Kingdom, as it managed to reach position 11 in a 19-week top 50 chart run. In 1966 and 1967, Nancy Sinatra would travel to Vietnam, where she would perform for the U.S. troops there. Later on, in the 1967 Pierre Schoendorfer's documentary known as The Anderson Platoon, it could be seen that many American soldiers would use Nancy's song, These Boots Are Made for Walkin', as their anthem. This act would later be shown in the 1987 film Full Metal Jacket by Stanley Kubrick. Nancy would go on and record several anti-war tracks such as My Buddy, and also a song known as Home, which was a song she wrote together with Mac Davis and It's Such a Lonely Time of the Year. In the year 1988, during one of the episodes of the China Beach television show, Nancy would get to recreate her Vietnam concerts. She still gets to perform in charitable events, such as Rolling Thunder for the Vietnam veterans. Films and television, apart from just being a singer, Nancy Sinatra would appear on several movies and television series. She appeared in the Who Killed Wade Walker episode of Burke's Law in 1963, where she played the role of a secretary. She would later appear in films like For Those Who Think Young in the year 1964, Get Yourself a College Girl in the same year, 1964, and The Ghost in the Invisible Bikini in the year 1966, as she performed songs in the 1966 film. She would later on get a role in Beach Blanket Bingo, but she did not like this role because the character she was casting as would get kidnapped. This seemed to be very disturbing for her because in December 1963, her brother Frank Sinatra Jr. was kidnapped. The role ended up being given to Linda Evans. In 1965, she would appear on the game show known as Password, together with Woody Allen, as a guest. She would later appear as Nancy Sinatra in 1966 in 3 films: The Oscar, The Last of the Secret Agents, where she would sing the title of the film, and Wild Angels. She appeared on Speedway, which was a musical comedy with Elvis Presley in 1968, which would happen to be her final film. Nancy made appearances in several television shows such as The Virginian, Rowan and Martin's, Laugh In, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., The Ed Sullivan Show, The Kraft Music Hall, which was hosted by Sandler and Young, and the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. She also appeared in Part 2 of her father's special A Man and His Music in 1966, before appearing on The Dean Martin Show in a Christmas-themed episode which featured both the Sinatra and Martin families. She would again get her own special Move In with Nancy, which was aired by NBC in 1967. This special would feature her father, Lee Hazelwood, Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra Jr., and David Winters, who choreographed in the show. The director of this special, Jack Haley Jr., received the Outstanding Directorial Achievement in Music or Variety Emmy Award in the 20th Primetime Emmy Awards. Nancy shared a kiss with Davis Jr. in the special, and she would talk about the scene later, saying, "The kiss was one of the first interracial kisses seen on television, and it caused some controversy then and now. But contrary to some inaccurate online reports, the kiss was unplanned and spontaneous." The choreographer in the show, David Winters, received a nomination in the Special Classification of Individual Achievements category during the Emmy Awards for his amazing choreography, but trailed the co-winners, the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour and the Jackie Gleason Show, by a close call. The following year, there was the introduction of the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Choreography, which is said to have been inspired by the show's success. 1970s and 1980s career. In the year 1971, Nancy Sinatra signed with RCA Records, a deal that saw the release of 3 albums, Nancy and Lee, again, which dropped in 1971, followed by the album titled Woman, which was released in 1972, and then in 1973, the This Is Nancy Sinatra album, which comprised some of the songs she recorded while at Reprise Records. She would then release an A-side and B-side single, which had Sugar Me and Ain't No Sunshine, in 1973. In the year 1971, Nancy Sinatra and Lee Hazelwood would do a duet known as Did You Ever? This track managed to reach position 2 in the UK charts. They would later perform Nancy and Lee in Las Vegas, which was a Swedish documentary imitation of the duo's concerts in Las Vegas at the Riviera Hotel and Casino. This film was not released until 1975. Nancy would get to work with the label Private Stock Records, where she could release tracks like Annabelle of Mobile, Kinky Love, It's For My Dad, and Indian Summer, which she did with Lee Hazelwood. Unfortunately, due to its suggestive lyrics, Kinky Love would later get banned in some radio stations. But as much as this song was banned, it would appear on the 1998 Sheet Music's, a collection of her favorite love songs. In addition to that, the song was also covered by Pale Saints in 1991. Nancy would then slow the pace on her music journey as well as call it quits with acting, as she wanted to now focus on her family somewhere in the mid-1970s. She resurfaced in the year 1981 when she recorded the album Mel and Nancy, which was a country music album that she did together with Mel Tillis. In the album, 2 songs managed to make it to the Billboard Country chart, with Texas Cowboy Night peaking at position 23 and Play Me or Trade Me peaking at position 43 in the charts. She would later write a book titled Frank Sinatra, My Father in 1985, 1990s, Present. In May 1995, when she was 54 years old, Nancy Sinatra would pose for Playboy magazine, and she would also get to be seen on various television shows as she tried to promote her album known as One More Time. But there was some controversy caused when she appeared in the magazine. She would later say that her father was proud of the photos on the talk show circuit. She appeared on The Tonight Show in 1995, where she told Jay Leno that her daughters had already approved her to be on the magazine, and her mother told her that she should consult with her father before appearing on the show. Her father would only say 2 words, double it, after he heard what the magazine would be paying Nancy. She would again write another book, Frank Sinatra, the American Legend, in 1995. She would release another updated version of the book in 1998, after the death of Frank Sinatra. In the year 2002, Nancy Sinatra would appear at the Edinburgh International Festival live. This concert was aired by BBC. In 2004, she did a version of Morrissey's Let Me Kiss You, where she collaborated with Morrissey himself. This single would provide Nancy with her first major hit in 30 years, as it happened to make it to the charts, peaking at position 46 in the UK in 2006. EMI released a compilation of Nancy's hit songs called The Essential Nancy Sinatra, which also featured her previously unreleased Machine Gun Kelly. This became her first album since the year 1971 to make it in the UK charts, as it peaked at position 73. On May 6, 2006, Nancy Sinatra was able to receive a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. In the 2002 Walk of Stars in Palm Springs, California, a Golden Palm star was dedicated to Nancy. She would appear on HBO's The Sopranos' Chasing It episode as herself. This is after her brother appeared in the Happy Wanderer episode of the same show in 2000. In 2009, Nancy would release Cherry Smiles, the Rare Singles, which was a digital-only album, which consisted of her previously unreleased songs. In 2013, she released another digital-only album, which was known as Shifting Gears. When H&M did an ad campaign known as the Summer Shop 2017, featured the duet that was done by Nancy and Lee Hazelwood in 1967, Summer Wine. Light in the Attic. Records, together with Nancy Sinatra, announced in 2020 that there are plans for the Nancy Sinatra archival series to be released. The very first release was Black Friday, Record Store Day, and it featured 2 of the many Nancy and Hazelwood's duets, which were Tired of Waiting for You and Some Velvet Morning. This was followed by Start Walkin', which was a compilation of 23 tracks that was released in February 2021. Later on, some of her past albums would get released on CD for the first time, such as the Nancy and Lee album and the Nancy and Lee Again album. Light in the Attic Records would then reissue her album known as Boots in 2021 on the 17th of September. September 27th, 2021 would see the kicking off of the Nancy Sinatra archival series, Second Wave. Following the release of the compilation album Asterisk, Keep Walkin', Singles, Demos, and Rarities, Asterisk, which featured a collection of 25 tracks, Nancy Sinatra made headlines with her engaging online presence. The album, showcasing a treasure trove of her work, was officially released on October the 20th, 2023. Subsequently, on November 2nd, 2023, Nancy Sinatra made her debut on YouTube Live, an exciting platform for artists to connect with their fans. During this live event, she revealed that her next project in the Nancy Sinatra archival series would be the release of her *Nancy in London* album from 1966. This much-anticipated release is slated for 2024, promising to delve deeper into her rich musical legacy. However, Nancy Sinatra's life has been far from a smooth journey. Despite her success and fame, she has faced significant personal challenges and heartache. At the young age of 20, Nancy married singer Tommy Sands in 1960. The marriage, while initially promising, ended in divorce after 5 years, subjecting Nancy to public scrutiny and emotional distress. Her second marriage to Hugh Lambert in 1970 brought a period of joy and stability. Together they had 2 daughters, Angela and Amanda, who were the center of her life. Tragically, in 1985, Nancy's happiness was shattered when Hugh passed away from cancer. This loss left her to raise their daughters alone, navigating the difficulties of single parenthood while managing her own career and personal challenges. Adding to her burdens was the constant pressure of living up to the immense legacy of her father, Frank Sinatra. The scrutiny and expectations surrounding her were compounded by her father's towering fame, which often cast a long shadow over her personal and professional life. One particularly surprising aspect of Nancy Sinatra's life involves her father's surprising involvement in her romantic relationships. At one point, Nancy was deeply infatuated with Elvis Presley, a sentiment she openly acknowledged. She described her feelings for Elvis during their collaboration on a film, revealing that she fell absolutely in love with him. However, their relationship never progressed beyond this emotional connection. The complexities of their situation were exacerbated by the fact that Elvis was married to Priscilla Presley, who was expecting their daughter, Lisa Marie. Moreover, Frank Sinatra's influence and rumored connections to the mob added another layer of difficulty. Elvis was reportedly apprehensive about the potential repercussions of dating Nancy, fearing that Frank's reputed mob connections could lead to dangerous consequences. Elvis himself likened the situation to playing with fire, underscoring the gravity of the potential fallout. This intersection of celebrity relationships and personal fears highlights the often overlooked pressures and complexities faced by those in the limelight, particularly when family dynamics and public perceptions intertwine. Frank Sinatra's turbulent personal life was marked by a series of high-profile marriages and relationships that often drew public scrutiny. Before achieving fame, Frank was married to Nancy Barbato, with whom he had 3 children, including Nancy Sinatra. However, as Frank's career in Hollywood began to soar, his personal life took a tumultuous turn. His increasing fame led him into extramarital affairs, straining his marriage with Nancy Barbato, which ultimately ended in divorce. Frank's subsequent marriages further fueled public interest. He married Ava Gardner, a former mistress, in a relationship that lasted 6 years before ending in divorce. His third marriage was to Mia Farrow in 1966, a union that also dissolved after just 2 years. Each of these relationships seemed to follow a pattern of intensity and brief duration, reflecting the complexities of Frank's personal and professional life. In 1976, Frank Sinatra married Barbara Marx, who was previously married herself. This marriage, lasting until his death, became the longest of his 4 marriages. However, the relationship was not without its controversies. Nancy Sinatra, Frank's daughter from his first marriage, harbored deep-seated resentment toward Barbara. Nancy felt that Barbara's influence over her father was detrimental and believed that Barbara had a hand in driving a wedge between Frank and his children. Barbara's request to annul Frank's first marriage to Nancy's mother further fueled Nancy's belief that Barbara sought to erase her and her siblings from Frank's life. The tension between Nancy and Barbara became more pronounced after Frank's death. Frank Sinatra's health deteriorated significantly in his final years. He was plagued by a series of severe health issues, including high blood pressure, breathing difficulties, dementia, pneumonia, and bladder cancer. Despite these ailments, Barbara often downplayed the severity of Frank's condition. In January 1997, Frank suffered a heart attack, yet Barbara publicly claimed he was recovering well. She dismissed rumors of his declining health, even as Frank struggled. On May 14, 1998, Frank Sinatra experienced a second heart attack and was rushed to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles. During this critical period, Barbara informed Tonio Pedisano, Frank's manager, of the situation, but chose not to notify Frank's children. According to Pedisano, Barbara urged Frank to fight, but Frank, struggling to breathe and clearly resigned, uttered his final words, "I'm losing." At 10:50 p.m. on May 14, 1998, the legendary Frank Sinatra passed away. His daughter, Tina, received the devastating news from the doctors at 11 p.m., marking the end of an era for one of the most iconic figures in entertainment history. The discord between Frank Sinatra's family members, especially between Nancy and Barbara, has lingered as a poignant footnote to Sinatra's storied life. Despite the turmoil surrounding his final years, Frank Sinatra remains celebrated as a towering figure in music and film, and it was from that exact moment that a major family feud began, one that has persisted to this day. Initial reports had suggested that Frank Sinatra's children were by his side when he passed away, but this was not the case. Both of Frank's daughters, Nancy and Tina, later revealed that they were not even informed of their father's hospitalization until after he had already died. Nancy Sinatra exposed the painful truth about the situation, expressing her deep hurt and anger towards Barbara Sinatra, Frank's fourth wife. Nancy publicly condemned Barbara, saying, "She was cruel, absolutely cruel. She did not tell us he was dying. We did not know until after he was dead, and we were 5 minutes from the hospital." This revelation led Nancy to vow never to speak to Barbara again, a promise she has kept. During Frank Sinatra's funeral, his family briefly paused their feud to honor him properly. The ceremony was marked by personal touches, with Tina Sinatra placing 10 dimes in his pocket, an homage to a tradition Frank had with his family. The service concluded with the playing of his song "Put Your Dreams Away," a fitting tribute to the legendary performer. Frank Sinatra was interred at Desert Memorial Park in Cathedral City, California. His gravestone bore the inscription, "The best is yet to come," referencing one of his well-known songs, along with the words, "beloved father and husband." In a move that seemed to reflect the ongoing tension with Barbara, someone chipped away the word "husband" from Frank's gravestone in 2020. The gravestone was subsequently replaced, and the new inscription reads, "Sleep warm, Papa," effectively erasing Barbara's connection to Frank's final resting place. Despite the personal drama and family discord, Frank Sinatra remains a celebrated icon of music and entertainment. Nancy Sinatra, true to her word, has maintained her silence regarding Barbara, keeping the estrangement intact.